I'm chatting with Elizabeth Olwen, who I've long admired. She has such a beautiful taste in color and has such a strong style. I think we have a lot to learn from today in listening to you, Elizabeth. So, Elizabeth, how would you describe your style, your work to anyone else? I think that's something that we all need a little practice with. And so, could you help coach us for a second? How would you describe your own work?
Yeah, so I would describe my work as like joyful, uplifting, bold, graphic, simple, but not like simplified, but not like simple, like because I think I really value myself on like well-crafted work. So it's not, but that can be simplicity at the same time. Also, like I definitely have like nods to kind of like days gone by, like 60s and 70s. That's definitely something I always go back to. But yeah, I think like more than anything, like color and joy above all else.
I do want to say, like, I heard you say simple, and simple is hard. Simple is really hard because it is hard to reduce what we see because we get so enamored and excited. I want to talk about that for a quick sec.
Sure.
How do you go about reducing all the fluff? Because you still show like the essence of the thing in very few shapes or forms. Do you have any tips on that?
Yeah, like do you know the work of like Orla Kiley? Orla Keeley, I'm never sure how to say it. Everyone says it a little bit differently, but she's like an Irish designer. You would know her work for sure. It's like very graphic and like extremely recognizable, but it's like the simplest. Like it's just like color and form. But I read a little thing that she said, which is basically like she's always trying to pare down like ideas to their simplest form. And it's just like, I felt like when I heard that, I was like, that clicked right into my soul. I was like, yeah, me too. There's something about distilling the feeling of something through simple shapes. And sometimes it's just like geometric shapes in Illustrator, but somehow when you get it right, it's just like you nailed it. There's something about reducing all of this distraction, almost feels like minimalism or something
Yes.
like that. Yeah,
And
I love it.
did she do like red poppies with like little black details? That's the image I have in my mind. But
Marimekko. Are you thinking of Marimekko?
oh, I am.
Not she's like she holds her own, but in like a slightly different space.
Okay.
But she's more, yeah, but they're a little bit more wild and organic. She's a little more structured. Like if you've seen like a really like she has like a pretty classic flower, and it's almost just like a really simple repeat, like almost like verging on geometric, but with floral. And you'd recognize if you saw it for sure. But it's beautiful and it's iconic. And I think there's something about something being so iconic, so recognizable. I love whenever like a pattern is like, sometimes my most favorite patterns are like the simplest pattern. And I'm like, there's something so special about nailing simplicity and still having it be iconic and recognizable. And like, I get goosebumps thinking about it. So like that drives me, you know, I love that so much.
I love that. I love that talking about art is giving you goosebumps. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh
that's
yeah.
so exciting. So you were talking about paring down and these simple forms. I feel like that really feeds into your retro look. Like they go together.
Yeah.
Why? How do you see those two coming together?
Yeah, like I was thinking earlier, like I should probably look into see like production methods in the 60s or something, because like the book seems like very influenced. Like I do love working with restrictions sometimes, you know, like sometimes I look and feel is created out of like, I can't do that, I can't do that. And like maybe silk screening was like the way to go and they needed like pared down shapes. I'm not really sure, but for whatever reason, the 60s and 70s had this like very, for me, like they feel simplified, like the forms, a lot of them feel really, really simplified. So for some reason I attach those things like together a little bit, you know?
And would it be safe to say that some of your favorite subjects are flowers?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like if you look at my work, it seems pretty obvious, but like honestly, sometimes I think like flowers are just shapes and they're just vessels for holding color. And so like I love color so much. And like for me, like there's the pattern or the illustration, the artwork, the form, and then there's the color. And like those two things are powerful in themselves, but sometimes like I just need beautiful shapes to hold beautiful colors, you know? So I almost think about it, again, it is a flower. And I also think like flowers for me are the most wide open thing I can think of, because like nature is the most amazing thing ever. So it's like, you know, if I can't even conceive of all the amazing things that nature does. So I feel like it's really freeing to think about any flower that my own imagination can come up with. Like nature's definitely done it. So it just feels like this really free kind of place to play with shape. And I don't know. And I think they're just pleasing. I think flowers are just so pleasing, you know?
I've asked myself the same thing because I can't name more than a dozen flowers.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they are just it's the organic form, it's the variety of colors, and then just kind of that radial orientation. And I feel like I see that a lot with retro artwork. There is a sense of symmetry and I don't know. Yeah, we should look into the printing processes, because, or maybe it was just this desire to simplify so boldly because there were so many things that wanted to be said in the 60s and 70s. Do you gravitate to one decade more than another, or are inspired by certain things?
Yeah, like 60s and 70s. Like, I mean, I kind of blend them into one, because like probably, I don't know which part of the decade I'm most attracted to, but just that whole, I think just because I grew up in a apartment that was decorated with things that felt like they were 60s and 70s. So like, it just like is born into me. I feel like I was just like born into this, like
You had no choice.
yeah. And like, but I loved it, you know, and like I still love it, and like I still go back to it because like there's something about it, just like it feels right in my soul. And also I think it's really like interesting, of all the movements that come and go and trends and everything, for me, I never get tired of 60s and 70s, like 80s, yeah, 90s for sure, like that kind of like, it just, I always, and 50s not so much, but 60s and 70s always feels like it can still be modern. There is something about that like era or something that just feels really pure to me. And yeah, it just feels right. So I just keep kind of chasing it.
So when you're about to create art, how do you start? Like, do you start with what you're going to say? Do you have an idea in mind, or do you just start going at like color? Like, how do you start, for those of us who want to maybe try some work that feels a little more retro?
Well, I know we don't have a ton of time, so I could talk about this for hours, but I have brought one thing with me, because this is like essential to me for my work, as I always do mood boards. And I do like, they're very extensive, they're a bit ridiculous, but I do like pages and pages and pages of mood board. This is key for me. This really is key for me. And I think like if you told me this in like university, I might have been like, is that really necessary? Like, you know, it's an extra step. And I'm like, dude, these are my best friends. Like, we hang out, and I love having my mood board by my side all the time, because I have so many ideas. And like, there are so many ideas we can pluck from the sky and like use for our own artwork, but like there's too many sometimes. And so for me, it really helps me to distill down like what I'm thinking about. And I'm also always, when I sit down to do these, I've already been collecting. Anytime I'm out and about, I'm on the internet, I'm on Instagram, I'm out in the world, I'm taking pictures, I'm traveling, whatever. I'm always recording the nuggets of inspiration in some kind of way, sending myself notes, like anything I can get, and I throw it into a folder on my desktop. So like while I'm working on my like current collection, I'm already gathering inspiration for the next one. So it's not like sit down, go get inspired. I'm always trying to like grab the inspiration, hold on to it, do my future self a favor by like holding on to these nuggets. And then I start to notice the themes. I'm like, man, I've really been attracted to this kind of typography. That must mean something. Like, I'm always thinking about oranges lately. Maybe, you know, if it keeps coming back to you, maybe you need to explore that. So then putting it all into a mood board helps me distill everything down to like what is calling me the loudest. And then I use that. And then I'm like, okay, now I know what I must do. I'm less distracted. I'm not like looking around like in the same rate. And I'm just drawing based on my mood board. So I just always have this thing like right by my side. I have it in this like, this has really changed my way of working, because I put it in this like accordion fold thing, and then it just folds up into this, so I can take it anywhere I go. and I can put it up on the wall if I want to, but it's always just this like super portable thing. So I have like no excuse, basically, like wherever I am, if I'm traveling or something, I can just take this with me and I can draw. And then I go through the drawing process and then start turning my drawings into patterns on the computer. So, but I'm always starting, I do this, then I draw on paper, then I digitize, then I craft, and then I color, and then voila, hopefully we get a big, beautiful, delicious collection.
That was awesome to look at. And you know what it reminds me of is so many of us might say, I'm all over the place, or I like so many things, as if that's a bad thing. But what you're saying is like, yeah, gather all that and we'll assess it later. Like you don't have to be stuck in one route. Like you could have a different page for each one of those little groupings and can curate it as time goes. But like amassing inspiration, totally fine, all over the place. Let's go for it. And then you're going to start seeing those threads to pull out from. That's so cool. Elizabeth, you talked about your work. Where does it end up? Because I've seen it in a lot of places, but you know better than me all the places where your artwork ends up.
Well, I've been doing it for a while now, so it's ended up in a whole bunch of different places, but you'll see it on like fabric. I've done a ton of fabric, so fabric that you can buy and then like make into something of your own. Done a lot of like rugs, tea towels, kind of home decor kind of stuff, kitchen textiles, wallpaper, flooring, apparel, like all sorts of stationery, notebooks, calendars, planners, like greeting cards. I could probably keep going on.
I know, I'm starting to feel like that was a dumb question, like just everywhere. Elizabeth, thank you.
What's that?
This is amazing. I feel like we have a lot to look into for you. Where should people start Googling you?
Like I've got a website, you can go there, or my Instagram is like probably the most like living kind of portfolio, or like living like what's happening in real time kind of thing. Yeah, I'd say those are probably the two best places. And I also have like, if anyone's curious about like my process, I have classes online, and I'm actually about to launch a new class. Domestica finally goes live next month, so I kind of explain my whole process there as well.
Awesome. Try your hand at this style with a very lesson targeted to do so. Explore this one and so many others in Watercolor Bold. Try it out for free and learn as much as you can. Thank you for making time for me today.
Thank you so much.